I'm picking 2. DPJ, Amari Cooper, Hubbard, and Elijah Moore. Man, this is a lot of grossness. I'm not trusting Amari Cooper, so he's going to be one that I sit because Amari Cooper over the last 2 weeks has finished as the wide receiver 55 and 59. And he's had 16 targets during that time. It's not like he hasn't been involved, but there's been rustiness from Deshaun Watson. Amari Cooper's been dealing with a pretty noticeable hip injury. He's been limited to no more than 42 receiving yards and no more than 4 receptions and no more than 6 fantasy points in both of those games against Houston and Cincinnati, who give up some of the fewest fantasy points to the wide receiver position. So you're not firing up Amari Cooper this week. Now, Elijah Moore is a sneaky pick, but we just saw Zach Wilson is going to get the start. So that's a little volatile. So I think it's going to come down to DPJ, Hubbard, Elijah Moore. Let's look at Hubbard here. And Chuba Hubbard gets Pittsburgh. And the Baltimore Ravens were able to move the ball pretty well against the Pittsburgh Steelers. But I think this was an anomaly game. All right, if y'all like the content, make sure you hit that red subscribe button. Seattle gives up some of the most fantasy points to running backs. And Hubbard went 14 for 74. He had the touchdown, 3 receptions for 25 yards, finished as the running back 10 last week. But this was a season high. And over the last 2 games, 17 and 14 carries. And again, in the Tampa Bay game, before he went out, Hubbard 9 carries for 63 yards. So he's played pretty well. I would say in like a standard league or a half PPR league, he might be a little interesting. But if I'm looking at who could hit the nuts, who could just you just get some spike weeks out of, I think you're looking at Donovan Peoples-Jones and Elijah Moore. Those are my 2 picks for this week. I am really concerned about Amari Cooper's hip. And Chuba Hubbard, as I said, gets a difficult matchup. And I still think Donta Foreman's going to play ahead of him. So that's how I would lean